Hello again, today we're in the Cairngorms doing a walk around the picturesque Loch An Eilein. As well as amazing Scottish landscape views, it also has an interesting castle sitting in the loch, and I'll tell you more about its history as we go around the walk. But first let me show you where we're at on the map. So here is Aviemore, and the loch is located here around 6.5 kilometres south. By the way, the smaller Loch Gamhna feeds into Loch An Eilein and is just a little way further south. You can walk around both if you like, but we didn't on this walk. However, you will see a glimpse of it as we pass by. Let's zoom in closer and I'll show you today's route. We start here at the loch's car park. More on that in a moment. Here too is a small gift shop and toilets. I'll show you those in this video, and then we head around the loch, getting a good view of the castle and continue on passing Loch Gamhna and then making the entire circuit round back to the car park. All in, this is a walk of just under 6 kilometres and took us 2 hours. By the way, this map is available to download for free from my Facebook page. I'll leave a link to it in the video description. Now, I mentioned about a car park. As you enter, you'll pass by this shed where you'll need to pay for your parking. It was manned when we arrived and cost us £4 for the day. For that, you get this leaflet which has a map of this walk and others you can do in the Rothiemurchus estate, of which this loch is part of. But that's not all. If you take this map to the Rothiemurchus farm shop, located 3 kilometres away on the B970, you'll get 10% off any purchases and 2 free postcards. We chose these two, so that's a really nice additional perk. Anyway, back to the walk. We're all parked up and heading off to start around the loch. You can see it's quite wet today and it was raining on and off. Typical Scottish summer weather, I guess. Just at the head of the loch is the little White House gift shop, and beside it a small toilet block which is free to use. Inside the shop, it's an interesting collection of antiques and tourist souvenirs, plus you can get takeaway coffee and ice cream, which is nice. But not for us today, as we head out to begin going anti-clockwise around the loch. Not far to some views of the castle, so I'll catch up with you there. This is a great spot to look out at the castle in the loch. So, some history. It's likely this structure was built back in the 13th century, most likely by the bishops of Moray, who held vast lands at the time across Moray, Badenoch and parts of Inverness-shire, including the regions here around Rothiemurchus and the loch. However, in the 14th century the area comes under the influence of Clan Macintosh. During the Wars of Scottish Independence, the Macintoshes supported Robert the Bruce, and after his victory he rewarded loyal supporters with land or confirmed their holdings, allowing Clan Macintosh to consolidate control in the Central Highlands, including parts of Rothiemurchus. Clan Macintosh owned it through to 1542, when John Grant of Ferrucci, chief of Clan Grant, is granted the barony of Rothiemurchus by royal charter from King James V of Scotland, and that charter included the loch and the castle. As time passed, the lairds of Rothiemurchus, who are descended from the Grants of Ferrucci, established long-term ownership of these lands to this day. A really interesting castle to check out, but it's time to move on, so we're back threading through the trees, stopping to feed some ducks on the way. Coming into view now is a memorial stone that remembers an accident on the loch. This memorial is to Major General Walter Brook Rice, who was a senior British Army officer. He tragically drowned here on Boxing Day 1892 while skating on the frozen loch. He was in the Royal Artillery, and it's likely he served in Burma, but records are patchy and sadly there's no photographic record of him that I could find anyway. I guess he's most notable for his death rather than his life, and that's really kinda sad. Anyway, let's move on, and we'll be walking close to the banks for a while before joining a more well-defined path. I'll catch up with you as we reach Loch Gamhna. We're now approaching a bridge across a small stream. This is the outflow from Loch Gamhna, which flows into Loch An Eilein. You can extend your walk here around Gamhna, but we chose to continue on across the bridge as it was raining quite badly now. Anyway, we just continue on this well-defined path as we circle around the loch back to the car park, and I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of the walk in peace.